In today's show, we're going to learn about the PowerApps Tooltip. So we're going to look at how I use tooltips not only to provide context, but also how I use it as part of a system I've kind of come up with for providing in-app help to your users that works both if you are in a mobile environment or if you're in a tablet environment, right? Because there's two different states there, so you have to use the tricks a little bit differently. So we're going to look at all that in the video. We're also going to do it in the context of a new upcoming app that I have that I'm going to release for timesheets. So I'll give you kind of a tour of the timesheet app while we're at it as well. Should be fast, should be fun. But first, here's our intro. Hi, my name is Shane Young with PowerApps 911. Those guys. In today's show, we're going to talk about the PowerApps Tooltip. So the tooltip, as you probably know, right, was the little guy that hovers over when you hover over things, right? So with your mouse, you take it, you hover over a button or a control, and it gives the user a little tooltip. So if you haven't seen that before, we're going to talk about how you use that to kind of provide context or tips along the way. But then we're also going to look at how I've taken the tooltip concept and applied it into inline help in my systems that works both for tablet users, right, hovering over the mouse, and the mobile user, because with mobile phones, there's no way to hover with your finger, unfortunately. So we had to kind of take that to the next level. So I'm going to show you how we do that. We're also going to walk through a timesheet app that I've built. In the timesheet app, we're not going to dive into how I've built it. It's going to be an upcoming one that we're going to release publicly. But right now, I wanted to do is just kind of, because I incorporated this new concept here, I thought it was a good chance to put it in there. But as we go through the timesheet app, if you have questions or things you want to make sure that I cover or explain really well, make sure you leave comments below so that we'll come back to those. All right, that's enough jibber jabber. Let's switch over to my desktop and take a look at this fun little concept. Over here on my desktop, I've already got the app open. So let's go in here and let's play it and take a look at this. So this is, enter my time, right? We're going to talk about that in a second, but look here. So before you go, hover over or press the message icon to see a bonus feature. So I took this little message icon, and if you hover over it, then you have the tooltip, right? Which is pretty hard to read if you're on a small screen right now, but this icon gives you more info, bloody, okay? So that's a tooltip in effect. But what I realized was with my mobile phone, right, and this is clearly a mobile factor, they're not able to hover. I tried to hold my finger a little above the screen, a little off to the left, a little right, it just doesn't work. So what I did was I made it, if you click on this icon, so if you touch it with your finger, then we use the concept from our pop-ups to give them that same exact message. So I just have this showing the tooltips message from its property into a label. So then that way you can see exactly the stuff, nice big icons. We could incorporate a lot more in here though, right? So if you're thinking about this from a full-on help system, we could incorporate images or other buttons. We could give them a link off to the official documentation. But that's one of the things we really strive with when we build these apps, right? Is we want to make it so that you don't need training, you don't need help to do it, but sometimes people still want that. So this is kind of our answer to that is here's how we can incorporate some real-time help, okay? And if we close out of this now, right, we just hit the X, we're right back here, right? Because it's just a pop-up, it just covered the screen, and it went away. And real quick, I just want to show you a little bit about my timesheet app, because what I really want here is if you guys have any questions or want me to really dive deep into a specific thing, when I make the video around how I built this timesheet app, this is the time to start asking those so we do a good job. Okay, so enter my time. So one of our customers, all of their time is entered by the employee directly. So in his app, a person only sees this button, right? These two buttons would never be in the same app. But so in his app, it's only this enter my time button. User clicks on it. They input a date, please select a project. And what I've done in this, for example, because this is going to be a demo app, this tells you, hey, so we often use sources like Project Online or Dynamics or something like that to show the list of available projects to the user. Oh, so kind of giving users an idea of when I release this one. So we find the items, we hit the drop down, and so then here's all the different projects, and we're using a combo box so that way I could show you both the project name and the project number. We can also search. So if I start typing in taco, we get the taco stand. When I choose the taco project, please select a task. These tasks are tied specifically to the taco stand, right? So cut the cheese, develop new recipes, install new computers, all of those things are right here. Also here, right, just to prove, so if we X out of taco, we go to the county hospital, we get different tasks. Build an app, install Wi-Fi, or provide Band-Aids. So different options. So we'll just say we'll provide some Band-Aids. And then now I can enter my time. I worked 3 hours of regular time and we hit save. Remember also, I guess I went a little fast there, but when regular time and overtime are both 0, we wouldn't let people save. So, and then once again, hover over the drop downs for advice, or click on this if you want to be able to see it in much bigger font. So just a neat way to do inline help. All right. So we'll save some Chewy time here. Ooh, save. Enter team time. So my other major timesheet project, what happens is the foreman or the supervisor always enters the time. So for those, what we've done is enter time. So same pieces here, right? Select our stuff. So our taco stand, we're going to install a new computer for the taco stand. Now we say, notice we don't get the hours and stuff anymore. So we say select team members. And so in this one, we came up with a concept where this is all the employees that belong to that particular supervisor or foreman. So they can only see their employees. But then they select, all right, I want to do Chewy and Gills the fish and Scuba Diver, right? So they chose the 3 employees they want to enter time for because they have a group, a team working on a project together. And so then those guys worked 3 hours of regular time and 2 hours of overtime. Boom. We save the time. And then what we do is to help the foreman better understand what happened, we show them all the time that's been logged for the specific work week, which we had to do some math to calculate around. But then that gives them, that's the only one I have in here right now, but that gives them kind of an insight that, okay, I did get all the time in for Chewy, Scuba, and Gills. And notice that the time that Chewy entered also showed up, because one of the concepts that this particular customer has is that multiple foremen might enter time for the same man or woman. And so in that case, what we want to make sure that we do is that this is a picture of all the time for that employee for that work week, not just the time that I might have added or just the time that someone else might have added. So a lot of fun, right? We're throwing tooltips up here all the time. And so, oh, you can see my tooltip. Oh, this is the first time I tested this one. It's not big enough to show this. So I should make my white box bigger, but that's it. All right, so we'll close X out of that. We'll X over here. And then review time, that's that same screen again. Okay, so that's my timesheet app. Oh, there's a settings thing up at the top. Glad you asked what that is. So then this is just a simple explanation of what's going on. So this allows you to send an email in, or you can have this do the launch email. So if you click this, this will fire open Outlook for you with the email partially populated. Pretty fun. So a little bit of concepts. One of my other customers, we have to support multiple languages. So we're doing, English, Japanese, and I forget the other language, Danish. So we have 3 different languages we have to support for them. And so there's some configurations here where a user can go in and set their own. So we default to their stored language, but if they want to see it in a different language, we give the user some options. So this settings icon is a little more, makes a little more sense in their context of theirs, but I thought it was a neat way to just show off another concept. So, okay, so that's the walkthrough of the app. So let's get out of there. And then let's jump over and let's talk about how we instituted that tooltip. And then we'll rebuild that particular piece of the functionality today. All right. Instead of like breaking down how we did it here, let's just go over and let's build it from scratch. Right? I think that's more fair. So we'll jump over to my teaching screen. We can see I just threw a quick little image control on here with Chewy saying good job. I got my friends in Chicago told me that I don't put Chewy like visually in enough videos, so I felt like I needed to take advantage of that. So there you go. So there's Chewy saying good job. He's a big dog. All right. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab an icon. And I'm going to use this little message one, but you don't have to use this one. I don't know, it felt like the right one to me. It kind of looked like a tooltip. We'll make it bigger so it's nice and easy for you guys to see. And so then what you're going to do is you go to this icon. And so if you hit the drop down here, there is a property called tooltip. And so in here, you just simply type in, here is a pic of Chewy. Boom, just like that. So now, if you go into the play, the preview, whatever you call it, if we hover over it, we get the little pop-up, here's a pic of Chewy. So all of the different controls are going to have that. So, I was showing it with an icon, but if you throw a button on here, you go to the button and you say tooltip, you can put in a tooltip for your button. We could add a tooltip even, I believe. Oh, now I'm getting stressed because I don't know if I really was right. Yes, you can even add, to the control here for Chewy. So we could have it so that if you hovered over, you could say big dog, right? And so then now, we've got, if you hover, you got big dog. And if you hover down here, here's a pic of Chewy. Okay, so that was part one. And tooltips, if you've done a lot of development in the past, especially web type of stuff, they're kind of, you're like, all right, I get it, makes a lot of sense. So then what I needed to do though was I needed to make it work for the mobile device, right? So that touch experience. And so in order to do that, also for my buddy Daryl, who is, we like to say has old eyes, right? Daryl wanted it bigger. So what we did was we needed to make a pop-up that was able to replace that. And so for the actual control itself, all we have to do is set the onSelect to make a pop-up, right? So we're going to say onSelect, update context right there. It makes a context variable. And we're going to build this pop-up. So I'm going to call it pop-up like that. And we're going to set it to true, right? So a contextual variable, a true-false variable, I should say, is always false by default, and so until it's been set true the first time. So that is what you want to do. Update context, pop-up true. And remember, contextual variables are only valid, they only are stored on this particular screen. So why this is important is because it's going to let us reuse this stuff pretty straightforward later without having to kind of get into reinventing the wheel over and over again, right? Once we make one of these, then we can just cut and paste it into other ones, and it travels really well, so it's pretty neat. Right? So there's our pop-up. Oh, the other thing I was going to tell you is there is a whole video on pop-ups, so I'll link to that below. So if you're like, whoa, pop-ups blow my mind, there's a video where I walk through those much slower and actually articulate everything in the pop-up. So here we're not going to spend too much time on that because we've done that a few times. Okay, so for my pop-up though, I'm going to grab an icon. Now, and what we're going to do is you use a rectangle, like so, and you're going to take the rectangle and say, all right, you just stretch over the whole screen like that. And then we're going to change the fill for the rectangle from whatever color that is to RGBA. And what I found is 169, 169, 169 is gray. And then if you do like a 0.75, that's the alpha channel or the percentage transparency. That gives you roughly the type of modal, grade behind screen that people are used to seeing. So then that does that. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and just put a label on the screen. So label, we'll just make it big like this. I'm going to say, all right, Mr. Label, I want you, right? Because remember, labels have fills also. So I'm going to say, all right, you have we'll just use a simple white fill. I don't even know if I say that word right. Something like that. And then you can set the text. For right now, what we're going to do is say, all right, your text is going to be icon 5, right? That's the icon down there. We probably should name it something different. Dot tooltip. So here's a pic of Chewy. Yeah, pretty cool. Grab another icon. I'll cancel one. We'll drag it right here. Put it there, right? It's not really attached, but kind of looks like it's attached. And so you say, hey, if you click on that one, then what we're going to do is update context, pop up back to false. Boom, boom. Okay. So that's all those pieces. So then we take those three. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And we're going to set those three. I'm probably going to put them in a group, honestly. I'm going to say home. I'm going to say group. Put them in a group. Boom. And then for that group, so now the group is selected. I can say the group, I want your visible not to be true, but to be pop-up. Because remember, pop-up evaluates to true or false. Visible takes true or false. So we don't have to write an if or anything. Pop-up is, in this case, false. So we don't see it. But if we go hover, we see our text now. If we click on it, here's a Pikachu. Woohoo! If we hit the X, Pikachu goes away. Or, well, Pikachu comes back because the pop-up went away. So that's how I do contextual help, right? But if you're like, hey, wait a minute, you said I could add a button or something. Well, no problem. So let's do this. So let's click on the tooltip, make it pop up, right? So we could just as easily have added a button. So insert a button and say, we'll just kind of hover it here. It doesn't have to be here. It can be way down here, be anywhere you want. But so we're going to take that button and then we would say something like, launch. And then we could just do HTTP, I typed it well, www, PowerApps 911.com, like that. So boom, and then we just change the text for the button to say something like, open help site. And so then now, our little context. Now if we unhide it, Oh, we forgot to do that. No problem. So we go back to here and we say, okay, I want to put you into the group. So I'm going to, the first thought I always had was I should just be able to move him down. So if we say reorder and say move backwards, but then he just goes under the group. So what you need to do is select the group, and the icon, or the help button, and then say group those. And so it just makes a new group. And so then we can just say, all right, group, your visible is supposed to be Popup. Boom. So then now we click this and we get the link to the open help site. So nothing special really here, right? It's just controlling the visibleness of things. The other thing to remember when you're doing this is, so maybe you get all this work and you're happy, and then you come back in, your boss is like, well, when you're on this page, I want a big button. Or how about a big smiley face? So we go down here, we're like, all right, where's this emojis? Or I guess they're not emojis, I don't know. Yeah, they're emojis. Throw a big happy smiley face. Boom, right? And so this is what we're going to have on the page. Maybe not that big, right? So then when you do this, you're like, okay, I'm all done. But then now this is actually sitting on top of your grayed out stuff. So just a reminder that icon 11, right, needs to be reorder and move backwards, because I catch myself doing this all the time, forgetting to make sure that the pop-up is at the top of the screen, because this is the order things are laid on the screen. All right? So that's the basics of how this works. So now let's go over here and look at how I got a little more complicated, because if you notice, like if we go here to this screen, right, there is 4 or 5 of these guys, but each one of these offers their own words, right, their own tooltip. So how did I do that? Well, what I did is when you select this, I do 2 things. I say pop-up is true, and the message is icon 2 tooltip. So now look what happens. When you go into here, the text for this is actually the variable message. Yeah, how about that, right? So I'm dynamically setting the message for the pop-up and the pop-up, because the beautiful thing about this then, well, let me close out this first, close this, is if we create a new screen, okay, so a new blank screen, I'm like, oh, I need to add that concept. No problem. I go over here, I'm going to copy the message, or the pop-up, and I'm going to copy one of the controls. Doesn't matter which one. Okay, hit Control C, whoop, go down here to my new screen, boom, I paste this on, all those pieces are in place, I go in here, I'm going to say, all right, your tooltip is now, we copied this, and so then now if we play, it works, yep, and if I click on it, we get this, right? We don't have to reset things over and over and over again, because, once again, remember, oh, I should get out of here before I click that again. Right? This little icon, he just sets pop-up to true, right? Which is what makes the things visible. And then he sets the message variable to his own tooltip. And so as I cut and paste, it just automatically updates, and I'm not having to set the message or the tooltip in multiple places, and I don't have to reinvent this wheel, right? So I literally made the icon in the pop-up screen once, and I got a 5 or 6 screen app, and I just pasted on all of them, and it was up and running. I just had to update the tooltip language. So a lot of fun to be had there. Okay, and I think that's enough for today, right? We got to go in there and look at all that stuff. Hopefully this helps you. And this is one of those topics, right? It's really tough with PowerApps, because now that you know it, it's like, duh, that's so simple, right? But until somebody like puts these pieces together and shows them to you, it's always a little daunting. So I know you guys probably have the same problem with your PowerApps environments, right? When you show people what you came up with, you spent 12 hours doing a thing, and they're like, well, that's so simple. And you're like, yeah, it's simple because here was the formula. So hopefully you guys don't have that same reaction to this video, but if you do, I get it, because I run into that almost every single day. All right, I think that's enough for today. I got my Christmas stuff here. I probably should be building a customer's app. So if you're one of my customers who's waiting on something, shh, I needed a break. So that's why I made this video. All right, but thanks and have a great day. Hey, it's me again. If you got a second, click the subscribe button. That always keeps me making more videos. Or if you want to work together, need some help getting your Power Apps going, hit me up at PowerApps 911. Always happy to work together. Or finally, if you're really just looking for more videos, that's probably what it is, check out the PowerApps playlist over here and enjoy that. All right, thanks and have a great day.